Have you ever noticed how a single image can just pop up again and again throughout an ancient text? Well, today we're going to trace one of the most personal and, I think, profound metaphors in the entire Bible, nakedness. It's this one little thread that connects the Garden of Eden, a really bizarre family drama, and the absolute core of the Christian faith. So let's pull on this thread together and see where it takes us.
It all kicks off with a story that, let's be honest, is a little weird. Right after the whole Great Flood epic, we get this scene in Genesis 9. Noah, the hero of the ark, plants a vineyard, gets hammered, and passes out naked in his tent. It just feels so random. But what if it's not random at all? What if this strange, slightly embarrassing story is actually the key that unlocks one of the biggest ideas in the entire biblical narrative?
Because this seemingly bizarre event is absolutely essential. It's like a little play that shows us everything we need to know about the biblical view on shame, on honor, and on what it means to be covered.
Now, to really get the weight of Noah's shame, we have to rewind. We have to go all the way back to the very beginning of the story, to a time when shame wasn't even a thing.
This right here, this is humanity's factory settings in the Garden of Eden. And pay close attention to that phrasing, naked and not ashamed. That tells you everything. Their nakedness wasn't about not having clothes on, it was about having absolutely nothing to hide. It was a state of pure, unfiltered connection.
Right. So this original state was all about total transparency. It meant perfect peace and intimacy with each other and with God. There was zero fear, zero vulnerability, no self-consciousness. It was just harmony.
And then, in a single moment, it all shatters. A choice is made. That perfect harmony is broken, and it leads to the world's very first cover-up.
And the fall happens so fast, it's dizzying. It's this devastating chain reaction. They disobey, their eyes are opened, and bam, the realization hits them. We're naked. And this isn't just them noticing they don't have clothes on. No, it's a new, terrifying awareness of their spiritual exposure, their guilt, and what's their very first instinct? Hide.
And here it is, the devastating shift. Humanity goes from a state of complete, guilt-free openness to one of alienation and fear. The very thing that used to signify intimacy, being totally exposed before God, now becomes the source of their terror.
But right here, this is where the theme of redemption starts to peek through. God's first move isn't just to punish. It's an act of mercy. He gives them a covering for their shame. And the fact that he uses animal skins, that implies a sacrifice, that a life was needed to cover their guilt. It's this powerful hint of what's still to come.
So this whole idea of exposure and covering, it doesn't just end there in Genesis. In fact, it becomes this repeating pattern, a powerful symbol that gets woven through the rest of the Old Testament story.
Which brings us right back to Noah's tent, where we see the stakes of this whole theme played out. Noah's son Ham sees his father's vulnerability, and instead of protecting him, he exposes him. He basically mocks his shame. But his brothers, Shem and Japheth, they do the exact opposite. They walk backwards into the tent to cover their father without even looking at him. And the consequences? They couldn't be clearer. Exposing shame brings a curse, but covering shame brings a blessing.
And this idea, the shame of being exposed, it doesn't just stay in the family. It scales up big time. The prophets grab hold of this imagery and use it on a national scale. For them, nakedness becomes the ultimate symbol for what happens when a whole nation turns its back on God: judgment, defeat, and total public humiliation.
So you have this long, tragic pattern of shame and exposure, and it's just building and building throughout the entire story. And it's all leading to one paradoxical climax, the one moment where the ultimate shame becomes the source of ultimate hope.
See, the crucifixion wasn't just about physical pain. Roman executions were specifically designed for maximum public humiliation. Jesus was stripped, mocked, publicly exposed. He literally endured the absolute peak of human shame, fulfilling this entire biblical pattern of being uncovered.
And here it is, the great reversal. The one who experienced the ultimate uncovering, the ultimate shame, did it to provide the ultimate covering for all of our shame. His exposure becomes our shelter. It's incredible.
So this single climactic event finally resolves the story that started all the way back in that garden. It provides the final answer to the problem of human shame.
The prophet Isaiah just nails this contrast. He compares our best attempts to cover our own shame, our achievements, our good deeds. He calls them filthy rags. And then he contrasts that with the gift God provides, a garment of salvation that we don't make but that we just receive.
But the solution is even deeper than just being covered by something. The Apostle Paul says that believers have actually put on Christ. It's like his own perfect righteousness becomes our clothing, wrapping us up so completely that when God looks at us, he sees his Son.
And with that, the story that began with a man and woman hiding in the bushes finally comes to an end. The shame of Eden is undone. The cycle is broken. Through this ultimate covering, that original state of open, fearless intimacy with God, the one that was lost in the garden, is finally possible again.
So from a strange story about Noah all the way to the cross, this one theme of nakedness and covering tells a profound story of mercy. And it leaves us with a final searching question. If the fig leaves in the garden were the first attempt to hide from guilt, what are the fig leaves we're using today? The achievements, the excuses, the distractions, what are the things we still use to hide?